Welcome back to another beginner-friendly acrylic painting. Today we're going to do something fun with an olive grove, so let's get started. You can see I've got my colors here: benzobedazzled yellow, quin magenta, phthalo blue, and titanium white. So let's start by sketching in our trees. I'm going to use a paint pen to just sketch in some trees. And we're going to have some big gnarly olive grove type trees. So I'm going to have some trees here. Just gnarly kind of olive grove trees. They have all these fun branches. Just going to put some branches in here like that. Let's have another smaller one back here. Okay, and I think we'll have maybe one more right here in the center, pretty small. That just gives us a roadmap to kind of decide where our trees are going to be. I'm going to give this one some more branches here. I'm going to give this some smaller branches here. There. We're going to have lots of foliage in these trees, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. We're going to paint our foreground first and then come back and paint the background after. It's a little bit different. It's a type of technique that Matisse would use sometimes. So we're going to start with our tree trunks. I'm going to go for blue trees. So I'm going to go right into my phthalo blue. And I'm going a little bit drier with paint than I usually do. I want things to dry, so I'm not going to put the paint down really thick like I would if I was painting alla prima. I'm just putting that blue down. I'm going to put a little titanium white into it. Get those branches going. A little bit more phthalo blue, a little titanium white. And get some nice curvy branches going there. Let's do the same thing with our smaller trees. Nice blue trees. And again, we're painting like the Fauves would paint. So blue trees, pink sky, that kind of thing. They really loved a lot of color. You just keep building those blue trees. This one's going to be a little bit smaller. I think maybe we'll give this one more branch. I'm going to bring this one over just a little bit. And then maybe one more branch up here too. There we go. Okay, so now we've got these big blue beautiful trees going. Now what we're going to do is fill in around them, kind of in a subtractive manner. We're going to fill in around these guys, the sky, the land, and so on. I'm going to wipe my brush a little bit here. And let's start with the sky. I've already got blue on my brush, so I'm going to start filling in back here with the sky. I'm going to take that phthalo and some titanium white, and I'm using a pretty small brush. So my brush strokes are going to be really visible. This is a little bit like what Van Gogh would do. So lots of texture with these very small brush strokes. I'm using the number 8, excuse me. I'm using the number 8, which is a pretty small brush for this canvas. So I'm just going to start building up some sky, like so. And maybe add just a tiny bit of Quin Magenta here and there, because we do want it to be a little different than our trees. So maybe go a little on the purple side. And don't worry if you're going over those branches. We'll come back. We're going to do things in the trees here in a minute, so don't worry about that. I'm just going about a little bit, maybe 1/4 of the way down, maybe not even that far down. I'm using kind of dry paint. I'm not making it really thick. How I sometimes paint that's alla prima, wet into wet. I'm not doing that here. I kind of want this paint to dry. Okay, we're building up that sky around these trees. Come down just a little bit more. Then we're going to have some fun with the tree leaves and whatnot. There'll be a lot of fun. Okay. The nice thing about this is you don't have to wait for anything to dry. It'll dry pretty quickly the way you're working. Just make sure you've got all the white space covered. Okay, so now we've got the beginnings of our sky. I'll wipe my brush. Now I'm going to go down here to the ground. We'll come back to the trees in a minute, but I'm going to go down here to the ground. And I want my ground to be really vibrant. So I'm probably going to start with a little purple. Let's go into our Quin Magenta and grab some titanium white. Get a kind of a pink going here. And let's just start filling in down here. And you'll just need to keep adding Quin Magenta, titanium white. We're going to have our land come up to about here. And you really want these brush strokes to be visible. You really want all that mixture of different color and different mixtures of the Quin Magenta and the titanium white. You can even throw a little bit of that blue in there. Let's actually get a little yellow here just to vary things a little bit. Little titanium white. The idea is just really have some interest in that ground. It's going to be super interesting. And I'm painting right up to the edges of the trees. So it's a little different than how we would paint before, where we would do our background and then our foreground. What we did now is we did our foreground and we're painting the background in amongst it. So it's a little bit different, but it's a really fun way to work. And Matisse did this quite a lot. So if it's good enough for Matisse, it's good enough for me. Okay. So just keep working on that ground. Purple, pink, yellow, just really mix it up. Lots of texture. Lots of texture. And like I said, I'm using a small brush, so you can see I've got lots of paint strokes. And I'm using my brush every which way. I'm not going in one particular direction with my brush. Paint right over the edge of that tree. Just keep building up that land in all these fun pinks and purples and yellows. Now, if you have too much blue on your brush and you go into the yellow, you make it a little bit muddy. So just wipe your brush Don't put your brush in the water. Wipe your brush, get most of that blue off, and then go into the yellow, and it'll be a little less muddy. We can do a little bit of a warmer red over here with a little bit of yellow in that quin magenta. So much fun to paint this way. Really loose, lots of fun, super loose. Okay, let's keep building. Get a little bit more quin magenta. We want to go up about halfway, because then we're going to bring all the foliage from the trees in. It's just going to be glorious, all that color. I'm just going to keep building here. Let's get a little yellow. Little quin magenta over here. Little titanium white. And see all those crazy colors we've got going on the ground there? Super fun, right? And honestly, if you think there's anything wrong with working like this in these wild colors and all of that, take a look at Matisse. Take a look at some of the Fauves, the way they painted. You will see they did some wild things. And if Matisse can do it, so can we. Okay, we're going to go about like so. Just do this really fun, colorful land under the trees. And who says you can't have pink land? It's your painting. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Okay, so there's our land. Looking pretty wild and crazy. I love it. I'm going to wipe my brush. No water, not washing my brush. And now we're going to build up some greens, because the greens are going to be a complement to that pink and yellow that we have down there. So we're using the same brush. We're going to go into our yellow, grab a little bit of that phthalo, not much phthalo, a little bit of phthalo, and let's start building up our trees. Now don't completely obliterate your branches. You want some of your branches there to show. So make sure you leave some of your branches showing. So we'll keep building here around our trees. I just painted over one of my branches there by accident, but that's all right. Let's go in. As we get down here, you might want to go a little darker with more phthalo. Keep building. You can go right over that sky that we made. We spent so much time on the sky. We actually don't need much of the sky. You can pretty much get rid of most of the sky. Just going to keep pushing the greens all over the place. Now, if you want to leave a little bit of that blue showing through from the back, that's fine, because I say this all the time when we paint trees, they're not solid objects. They do have air. So if you want to leave a little bit of that blue sky showing, go ahead. And I think I'll come back with a little titanium white in some of these areas. I want a little bit of contrast between the tree trunks and the foliage. So some of that is getting a little bit dark. So I think I'll bring a little bit of titanium white back in, and maybe a little bit more yellow. So we're just building some really wild trees here. Let's have a little blue here for this big tree in front. I want some nice dark blue down here. Let's put a little yellow into it to give it some texture so it just doesn't look like a blob. You just want it to feel more like foliage. You don't want it to feel like a squared off geometric shape. Okay. Just keep going with our green. And see already the way that green and the pink works together is really fun. Now when you get to the edge of the land here and your trees, try to give that tree, the foliage for the tree, try to give it a nice organic shape so it's not squared off. Those blue trees look great out there. I don't think they have blue trees that are, you know, in an orchard, like, you know, grow olives. I don't think they're blue. But, you know, in our orchard, they're blue, so that's okay. It's your painting. Do what you like. Some dark blue over here, a little bit of yellow. Really fun stuff. Okay, we're pretty much getting finished with our tree leaves. We'll go back and do a little touch up on our branches, on our tree trunks. Because we really want them to be different than the tree leaves. So we'll go back and we'll work on those a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit of that blue showing up here. Okay, I'm going to go back and make sure I don't have any white canvas showing. Okay. Well, I think we did a pretty good job on our foliage for our trees and stuff. Let's go back to our tree trunks. I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to dry it really well. Make sure it's nice and dry. Now let's go back to our trees and our ground and do a little bit more. So our tree trunks, I want to make sure that they have enough difference between the tree trunks and the foliage to make sure that they don't get, there's enough contrast. So let's put a little bit more titanium white into them. So they pop a little bit. Just pop them a little bit. And you don't have to match them exactly. You can have some really nice paint strokes that don't actually follow the line of the tree. They can be a little different. Let's have a little bit here. Put that phthalo blue down and then bring a little titanium white into it. Bring back that tree trunk right there that I painted over. Just have fun with those trees. Give them kind of some interest, a little texture here and there. You're looking good. Our trees are looking good. Now, one thing you might want to do also down at the bottom of these two trees here is give them a little foot, so to speak, so that they look like they'll stand up. So this guy right here, we'll bring him down like this. So they really feel like they live on the ground. Just helps him look grounded. Same with this guy back here. So they really feel like they're on the ground. And then finally, wash my brush. Let's have a little bit of fun with our landscape here. I'm going to go to a bit bigger brush. Go to my number 12. And I'm going to go into the Quin Magenta, titanium white. And I'm just going to come back over some of these areas. Just give them a little bit of extra shape and color. Use that titanium white wherever you feel like you want it. And just make sure that you've covered all of the white areas of the canvas. I see a little piece here that looks like it needs a little bit of paint. That's the great thing about using all these different colors, is you can come back and fill in with just about any color and it'll work. One final thing we're going to do, let me just get a little bit more of this going here. One final thing we're going to do is put in a little bit of foliage around our tree trunks. So I'm going to go to my number 6. Which makes a nice thin line. And let's start with Quin Magenta without any titanium white in it. And we'll just bring some simple little leaves just up around the bottoms of these trees. You don't need to do too much. Just a little bit of something there, just so they have a little taste of something around the bottom. Well, I think that kind of does it for our blue olive grove, our blue olive grove trees. I hope you enjoyed that. Be sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell and join me in the next video. And remember what I always say, keep painting. I'll see you later.